By the end of this video, you're going to realize something that might completely flip how you see yourself. Attractiveness isn't what you think it is. In fact, the signs that you're truly attractive have almost nothing to do with what you see in the mirror. Right now, you might be writing off your own appeal because you're measuring it against standards that have little to do with how attraction really works in the real world and how people actually experience and respond to you. You could be a 10-10 and not even know it. Have you ever noticed that the people who seem the most magnetic aren't always the ones we'd consider conventionally beautiful? There's something about them, a presence, a certain energy, that makes them stand out, even when they don't meet the typical perfect standards. Here's the twist. Attraction isn't primarily visual, it isn't fixed, and it certainly isn't about perfection. And here's the paradox. Those who think they're unattractive often have no idea how others actually perceive them, because the real signs of attraction are subtle, indirect, and easy to miss if you're looking for the wrong things. So what are the true signs that you're attractive? And why are they so different from what we've been taught to look for? Sign number 1. There's something that happens in social settings, and it's subtle, but it says a lot about how people see you. People just end up near you. They find reasons to sit next to you, join your conversations, or linger a little longer after you chat. It's not awkward. They're not staring at you or making it weird. It just happens. You're the one they gravitate toward without even realizing it. And here's the crazy part. It's not random. Somehow they always seem to end up in your orbit. They'll pick the seat next to you. They'll hang around after a conversation. They'll find ways to interact with you even when they don't need to. So, what's actually going on? Well, the truth is, humans are subconsciously drawn to people they find attractive. And that attraction shows up as a kind of magnetic pull. Research from Dr. Albert Mehrabian shows that when people are attracted to you, they physically move closer. They lean in when you talk. They angle their body towards you. They look for ways to get into your space. Here's the thing, though. You probably don't notice it. You're not keeping track of who stands where or who starts the conversation. But if you take a moment to pay attention, you might start realizing that people seem to consistently choose to be near you, even when they don't have to. Here's something that most attractive people don't even realize. Strangers treat them differently. Not in an over-the-top way, but you can definitely notice it. People hold doors open a little longer. They offer help without being asked. They go out of their way just to be a bit more accommodating. At first, you might think it's just because people are being polite, but here's the real reason. Attractiveness creates what psychologists call the halo effect. It's the tendency for people to assume that if someone's attractive, they must also have other positive qualities, like kindness, intelligence, or trustworthiness. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You probably don't even notice this happening because you don't experience the baseline. You're not aware of how strangers treat less attractive people because all you know is how they treat you. So when a barista is extra friendly, when someone helps you grab something off the high shelf, when people go out of their way for you, you probably think, well, that's just how people are. But here's the truth. Attractive people actually get way more pro-social behavior from strangers, and they usually have no idea that their experience isn't the same for everyone else. But what about being memorable? Here's something that's easy to overlook. People remember meeting you, even when you don't remember them. They'll bring up conversations you barely recall and mention little details about you that you casually mentioned once, maybe weeks ago. You might be thinking, I'm not that interesting. But here's what's really going on. Attraction creates attention, and attention creates memory. When someone is drawn to you, even in a friendly, platonic way, or even subconsciously, they pay closer attention, process things more deeply, and remember things better. Dr. Bruce Hood's research on attention and memory shows that we tend to retain information more strongly when it's connected to something or someone compelling. So if people constantly remember you bring up things you said, or recall little moments you might have forgotten, there's a good chance you made an impression that went beyond just being a casual acquaintance. Here's the kicker. You might brush this off as, oh, they just have a good memory. But the truth is, it runs much deeper. They remember you because, to them, you're worth remembering. Let's talk about something that might surprise you. Sometimes, a sign of attractiveness is that people get a little nervous around you, especially when they don't know you well or are meeting you for the first time. They might stumble over their words. They laugh a little too hard at your jokes. They seem a bit self-conscious about how they look or how they're acting. Maybe they avoid eye contact. Or on the flip side, they hold it just a bit too long. Now here's the thing. Attraction actually makes people nervous. When someone finds you attractive, they're thinking about how they come across. They care about your opinion, which makes them more self-aware, and that nervous energy can come out as awkwardness. You might think that they're not into you, or that they're uncomfortable, but more often than not, it's the opposite. They're just nervous because they want to impress you, and they don't want to mess up the interaction. This is called evaluation apprehension. It's the anxiety people feel when they think they're being judged by someone whose opinion matters to them. But what about humor? Here's a subtle yet telling sign. People laugh at things you say that aren't really that funny. Not in a pitying way, but in a genuinely amused way, at comments that, if you're being honest, are only mildly clever at best. You might think I'm just naturally funny, but here's the interesting part. How people perceive humor is actually influenced by attraction. Dr. Robert Provine's research on laughter shows that we tend to laugh more at things said by people we like or are attracted to. It's less about the actual joke and more about the connection we feel with the person saying it. So if people consistently laugh at your jokes, find you funnier than you think you actually are, or seem entertained by things you consider mundane, chances are it's not just your humor they're responding to. It's you. The attraction makes everything you say seem more engaging, more interesting, and definitely more worth laughing at. Finally, here's one of the most meaningful signs. People genuinely want to know what you think. They ask for your opinion, that they're curious about your perspective, and they actually listen when you talk, not just waiting for their turn to speak. You might think this is just part of a respectful conversation, but here's the deeper truth. People seek out the opinions of those they find valuable, compelling, and yes, attractive. When someone keeps asking what you think about different things, when they're really interested in your perspective, when they reference things you've said in past conversations, it's a sign that your thoughts matter to them in a way that goes far beyond just being polite. Dr. Roy Baumeister's research on belongingness shows that we invest our attention in people we value and want to connect with. So if people consistently seek your input, engage deeply with your ideas, and seem genuinely invested in your perspective, it's a clear signal you matter to them. Your presence adds value to their world, and they want to hear what you have to say. Remember that paradox we started with? That the signs of attractiveness have nothing to do with what you see in the mirror? Here's what I need you to understand. Attractiveness is so much more about how you make people feel than how you look. It's about presence, energy, the way you engage with the world around you. The signs are subtle, not bold declarations of beauty, but quiet indicators that people are drawn to you in ways they might not even realize. You might not fit the conventional standards of beauty. You might look in the mirror and see imperfections. But if people naturally gravitate towards you, remember things you said, or even get a little nervous around you, you're more attractive than you think. Not because you're perfect, but because attractiveness isn't about perfection. It's about being compelling, memorable, and worth paying attention to. And maybe you already are. You just haven't noticed the signs yet.